Welcome back, everyone. My name is Moses Moon, and you're listening to Reforge Radio. I'm on the air with one of my greatest friends here, kicking it in the airwaves. It's Joe Latifi. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing
That's what
good.
I'm talking about. Yeah. What's going on in your end of the world?
Not much, man. I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I can't complain. I just gotta drop it for a second, realize this isn't Reforge Radio. What is this? Where are we?
We are in spoilers, obviously.
That's true. That's correct. Sorry, guys. You got hoodwinked.
Wow. I have to say that was absolutely amazing. And
Thank you.
for the first time, you made me feel kind of uncomfortable because this is my show. It's like, am I the host or the like what?
You know what
is
it
my
is?
role?
It's game over.
Like, am I the guest or the host? What's going on here? So,
Who am I?
so yeah, you made me kind of question my role of in my own show. Nice.
That's fair enough. Just put you out in like an abandoned desert. Just all alone.
The Dune Desert.
The Dune.
Arrakis.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, I humbly give you back your show.
Oh, nice. Oh, it's good to be home. Anyways, yeah. What's up, man?
Oh, why that just reminded me of nothing much. not too much, man. Man, I'm just fiddling around. I just trying to figure out what this life's all about. And I have lots of questions, especially on topic of this episode 9, this season finale of The Last of Us. I have questions, man.
Yes. Oh my God. What an episode. Okay, so let's make the opening. We are talking about The Last of Us, season 1, episode 9. Or to be more accurate, the Last of Us.
Just so everyone's aware, welcome back to Spoilers, obviously.
Yes. I'm pretty sure
he's the host. He's the host.
Am I? Well, if I'm the host, why are you saying everything?
I don't know. I'm just making sure everyone knows where we're at.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Please help.
Oh God, please.
Anyways, yeah. So we talked about The Last of Us season 1, episode 9. And before
season finale,
before we are actually gonna drop into the episode, let's talk about facts.
Facts.
Shortest episode. It's the shortest episode of the season. It's 43 minutes. It's for a season finale. That's like kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
Most episodes are between an hour, some of them an hour and 20 minutes.
True enough.
That was kind of sad for me. Season 2, like I said on episode 8, about season 2, I'm going to talk about here on episode 9. If I'm not mistaken, I have heard they're going to start shooting later this year. If not, so sometime next year, which means you'll only get season 2 by 2025, 2024. I have no idea. But anyway, season 2 is where the big debate is. Because
talk to me. What's the debate?
So the game, The Last of Us Volume 2, from what I've heard, is the worst out of the two. It was a horrible game. Again, I don't know the game, part 2. I only know part 1. I've seen an episode, played, watch a video of a game. So about part 2, I know nothing about it. I think I know some stuff, because it has been several years. But anyways, the main plot of The Last of Us is about Joel and Ellie. Yep. And from my understanding, The Last of Us Part 2 takes place about 5 years after Part 1. So that's one. And then basically, if I'm not mistaken, and here's the big spoiler from the game, Joel dies very early in the
Yep.
game. So I did not know that. Now this is where the show and the game will change. From what I've heard, season 2 is not going to focus on the game.
Okay.
They're going to do the game, yes, but multiple seasons.
I
Because
see.
from my understanding, the game, part 2, a lot of it is actually flashbacks. And
Huh.
if that is the
I
case,
never played the second one, so I don't know, man.
neither do I. I have no idea. I'm going from what I've heard. So if that is the case, I think they're going to focus on the flashbacks until the 5 years, until basically part 2. So basically, the year is now 2023 in the, Last of Us world. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Joel dies in no, he doesn't die in 2028, but part 2 takes place in 2028. So what they could do is basically do multiple seasons until we actually get to part 2. Just focus on the flashbacks, which
Right.
means most, you
How
can't
many
really.
flashbacks do you need, though?
Well, I don't know. This is the big debate, the big problem, because a lot of people did not like the second game, and the
Right.
big difference in the second game, the main character is actually Ellie. Because Joel dies very early on, and what does that mean very early on? Let's say they did do season 2, part 2 of the game.
Right.
So basically, you get one episode, Joel dies. Then you have 8 more episodes without Joel. It's like, oh, like do we really think Ellie can hold on this entire show alone for 8 episodes? And if
Yeah.
there's gonna be
I
season
mean,
3, so
was it Pascal? No.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. He is a force to be reckoned with, and it would be he kind of is what makes the show, in my opinion.
Yes.
Again, his character I think was strongest in the last episode in terms of like him like going beast mode.
Mhm.
However, it would be difficult to watch this show without him, which is why I thought it would have been a smarter to do. Now, since we're at the end, we can look back retrospectively. Had they pushed the first game into 2 seasons and slowed down and made some of the bigger points of what was in season 1 more grandiose, or had more time to explore, or made things more like shocking, especially that would have given more time for episode 8 to kind of exist a little more two-parters. I thought two-parter 4 and 5 would have been, it was awesome, but that even then could have been more fleshed out given an extra episode, so you're not struggling. Then maybe push certain aspects or journey aspects a little longer, and some more dialogue. I don't know, some more interesting things to that, because I mean, like, it's a game. There's side quests. There's all sorts of things, routes that you exploration. So something could have been dedicated to some of those aspects. I'm not saying it's perfect. Like, it's obviously the easy solution. Obviously, it's not. But especially since this would give more people, at least the producers, more time to at least make a plan about what would they do about the second game and getting into that material. And because a lot of the side characters that would have had maybe more prevalence in flashbacks, or things that um, would have been more meaningful, especially in the development, were kind of just executed relatively quickly. There was no side character we got to really know other than Tommy, so much so that got a lot of screen time that endeared us to them. Everybody else was just kind of like, I guess, but then they die, or they just disappear out of the script. We never see them again. So it's just like, okay then. And especially in this episode, when we get to the finale's ending per se, I didn't feel a certain thing that happened had as much weight as it could have. Nonetheless, let's hop back.
Yeah, I agree with, if they would have done season 1 into 2 parts, it could have maybe be better. Also focus on more cordyceps, and put more danger in. But at the same time, I also saw like interviews, and they said how they had to do the first game into one season because it is one story. It's like the second game, from what I've heard, again, is a lot of flashbacks. So you could tell multiple stories over there. So this is like season 1 is like 95% accurate to the game.
That's a pretty good percentage.
It is. And because the second game is like flashbacks and all that, so they said season 2, they're going to stray away from the game a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, that may be a good thing in depending on where they go. Like a good example of source material being missed but still being good would be in the anime Full Metal Alchemy. I think it was the first, not Brotherhood, but the first one. They're the same story, both of them, but one is based on the source material and one is based on the source material until they outpaced it, which is kind of incredible to think of. However, both had different and eloquent solutions to finishing the overall story, and it was honorable and good, and for me, they're both just as majestic and like cool to observe. So here, this could be like, okay, we have enough of the world established and enough of like bits of material to use that we could flesh out these characters in different directions. So it'd be really interesting. Now, this would be something I'd be interested to see, aka the anti Lord of the Rings, or Rings of Power. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where that was a bad example of going off source material and thinking they could do it better.
Yeah, Amazon sucks. They're fucking horrible. I'm gonna kind of stray away a little bit from The Last of Us for a second.
Do it. I dare you.
So because The Last of Us was so fucking successful, and the portrayal of this game was excellent. It was amazing, and we know it's very difficult to portray a game into a series, into a movie. It has been tried many, many times and failed. You have Resident Evil. Can't think
the
of
new series or the movies, because the movies are fun.
They all suck.
Yeah, but they're fun.
Fun, but they suck. Either way, most video games, even Mortal Kombat, most video games, when they're portrayed into movies, TV shows, most of them are done horribly. This is the first time in history, if I'm not mistaken, that a video game was portrayed accurately and perfect every step of the way. Yes, obviously there were a few things that were better, a few things that were worse, some things that we missed or didn't get or wanted, obviously. But even with all that, still, this show was absolutely amazing. And with that comes the question, what is the next video to be portrayed into a series?
The next video game? I don't know. What could it be?
Now, the rumors are God of War.
Oh, no.
No. Now, wait a minute. In one hand, like, okay, God of War has been, for many years now. It depends where exactly you're going to begin. Are you going to begin from the very beginning of God of War, the very first game? Or are you going to focus on the last two games? So that's question number one. Question number two, and this is serious question. If God of War is going to be portrayed into a TV show, who is going to be the one to release it? Care to take a guess, Moses?
Is it gonna be HBO? Amazon.
Sadly, it's not
Is it
going to be
Amazon?
it's not going to be HBO. It's fucking Amazon, and they're
Oh
going to fuck
God.
it up.
Ugh. Here's the thing, though. I kind of want to see it just because of learning how bad Amazon produces things. Oh my gosh. It's almost like a. Here's the thing. Okay, so since Tolkien is a beloved source material for me and it's very close to my heart, take it very serious when Amazon screws it up. But
Yeah,
because
me
God
too.
of War is not serious material to me, and though the games are good, uh it's not important to me. Like, of all the storylines that could be evoked, like, wow, this is massive fantasy, this is beautiful, this is, something that's very important or whatever, or like sings the the everyone is on the higher plane of inner story workings, the greater echelon of beauty and archetypes and things of that nature. I just don't give a damn about God of War so much. So it would almost be fun to see how bad and how dearly they do depart from the source material. Uh, Especially nowadays in the world of wokeness, and how badly Amazon producers like bend the knee to that
Hmm.
in Rings of Power. It's like, what are they gonna like cripple Thanos for being toxic, having toxic masculinity, and like what are they gonna do to him? Like, what's gonna happen? I have questions now. I need to see this.
So this is my point of view about God of War. One, if this is true and they are going to do a TV show about God of War, I personally would want it from the very beginning.
Mm,
Because to start when Kratos went apeshit and decided to go on this entire rampage to killing gods. That alone, if you start from the beginning until the God of War Ragnarok, that gives you like, I don't know, 5 seasons more or less. You do each
mm,
game a season. So that's one. The second thing, I would prefer HBO to do God of War because then I know they do it right and they would do it properly. But at the same time, I'm the same as you. Lord of the Rings is close to me, close to my heart, means a lot to me. God of War means nothing to me. So I want Amazon to produce this show and fuck up so badly. So then we, the fans of Tolkien, can say to everyone who said, "Hey,
see?
what's the problem? I like this show. Rings of Power is amazing. I think they did a great job." And then God of War comes and they fuck it up and be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, they definitely did a great job. Fuck you guys. You deserve this."
Oh, it's like hate watching, but spite watching.
Yeah. So that's what I want. I don't believe Amazon will do a good job. I did hear when the rights for God of War went to Amazon, they said, "You see, The Last of Us. This is what we expect. This is what you need to do."
I
Like
don't know
that.
how they're gonna do that. It's so
Like
removed. The
this.
one thing that's easy about this story is that it's so close. Zombie films and anything of that genre, particularly, are the a easier bridge into the human experience because we're following humans in the epitome of the extreme, the end of the world, and so the inner workings of humanity come to the surface, and it's easier to explore and to have these archetypes and things like commonly explored in zombie, like post-apocalyptic scenarios, is like, okay, fascism and communism and these inner political things with people walking through these systems, of course, as well as what was it? Like, okay, different types of people, the brutes and the people. Where do they find themselves? What is humanity? Whereas when you go into fantasy, sometimes it can be close. You can find certain strands in order to portray these exact same things. However, God of War is, when you're dealing with gods and god killers and the fantasy of like seeing these intense, huge beings or hypersexualized energy peoples and things of that nature. It's like it's your, how would you say, your ability to stretch your unbelief or like the believability or the relatability is a little more extreme. I would have been more, I was more shocked that you said that than, let's say, Assassin's Creed. Now I know Assassin's Creed has been done in a movie already, but I'm not talking about that. But it's easier material to adapt, more or less, because you have time periods, you have people, humans.
Mhm.
This the well, I think was it Caesar? No, Rome. It was called Rome. The series Rome. You know, was more in depth and within a particular time period, but it didn't go above and beyond to be so, you know, powerful. Superhero movies and things of that nature, maybe you can suspend your disbelief a little more. However, I don't know. God of War is gonna be, that's crazy, man. You're talking crazy.
I hope I am, but I don't know. So Adam does play God of War, or he did play, like he finished both games, like God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, which, from my understanding, they both
Does he
have
know?
yeah, he knows about this. But from what I understand, those two games go hand to hand with one another, and it's a great
Mm,
storyline. He said the storyline is so well, it is at the same level as Avengers Infinity War, even
right.
higher.
So that's a hypeness though. Like that
Ex-
doesn't necessarily be about relatability. Like Avengers Infinity War was amazing because over the last decade you had seeded all these movies and started linking them, and for the first time in cinema history, bold statement, but you have an epiphany, an epoch movie which combines all the storylines into one final thing, and you have two movies that are the explanation, like a giant series, which the whole could be globally accessed, which was phenomenal. Whereas, I mean, and that's just the hype level. It wasn't like Marvel movies are not known for their like. Okay, fuck me. I mean, I was gonna say not known for their like interpersonality, interconnectedness, personal relatability. But I mean, come on, Tony Stark and Spider-Man and, you know, him
yeah.
dying and Pepper Potts. That I teared up a little bit at that. I will admit. Um but that's because of almost the longevity of how long we've been introduced to these characters and the things we expect them to say and maybe that subtle subversion of like, okay, wow, it's time for, there's a finality to it, there's a beauty to it, if you will. But I don't know, God of War is not necessarily that well received on a global scale. It's not everyone has played these games. I know that I've dabbled. I've definitely never finished any of the games. I barely know any of the storyline. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. Those would be my blatant and ignorant opinions being thrashed about upon this podcast.
Okay, I do think, more people know about God of War than The Last of Us. So this could
Really?
be, in my point of view, again, God of War, the first game, I think, what came out in 2004, 2003, somewhere over there. The Last of Us, the first game came out in 2013, like 10 years later. So in my point of view, more people would know and recognize God of War. And the fact that you put in your head someone who kills God. So obviously, you're gonna need to open your imagination a bit more and
Mm,
accept, what you see. It would make sense. But again, I haven't played the games. I don't know the storyline. I haven't seen YouTube videos about it. I might will. Either way, if it is going to be a thing, I hope it's going to be a good show in general, and I hope HBO will do it, because HBO are the ones to know what the fuck they're doing. The only people who are not portrayed but influenced by the woke bullshit is Amazon and Netflix. They're the
I
two
you know what?
that
I
work.
almost No, go finish your thoughts. Sorry.
No, they're the two, basically are influenced by the woke movement. Amazon, HBO is the only ones like we're not, influenced by the woke movement, but you know what? Here, this character was supposed to be white. Let's make her black. She's gonna die, so who gives a fuck? So that's like, okay, no, like didn't really change the storyline. I don't give a fuck that you changed that. So okay, no problem. This character might be gay. Let's do a whole episode about him and then kill him off. Like wasted a whole fucking hour and over there, but you know what? Fine, you killed him off, so I don't give a fuck. So that's HBO for you, and they're not afraid to show you blood, death, and sex if need be. And
True. I mean, who did The Boys?
The Boys. It was that's on.
Yeah.
I have to say that's the only success that they have.
But here's the thing, though. With that in mind, God of War might actually be. This is debatable. Might be Amazon Speed. I don't know about the production value, and I'm sure people will have nitpicks and freak out about certain design choices or how they portray the character. Like Kratos is. How do you portray that? Also, which version of Kratos are you going for? And no matter who they pick to play that, let alone like maybe the actor who played the Mountain, but just maybe slightly more lean and better English ? I don't recall. Like no one's gonna be happy with those choices, but they're gonna watch it anyways. But maybe the storyline and or the material and the fantasy, because it's fantasy light.
Mm-hmm.
It maybe it'll be okay.
I guess
maybe surprisingly will sit well, because Lord of the Rings is a big thing. Tolkien is a big thing, and the themes that Tolkien dealt with are themes that people stay away from and or like don't know how to represent properly these days for some reason. But maybe the themes of this game, since it's more within our, let's say, time frame, won't be too hard. But again, I'm more curious because like in the first couple games there you could definitely cut scene of like making love to 1,000 women, not hyperbole, but everyone knows the scene I'm talking about, and it's a quick time event.
Why cut that scene?
Because it's misogynist and women are just meat.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Anyways, yeah. So let's get it back to the episode. But before,
what were we talking about?
the Last of Us. Yeah, before we actually get back to The Last of Us, you did mention Lord of the Rings multiple times, and I do want to mention, Warner Brothers have announced they're doing more Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes, they're doing a remake of.
Okay, so I did not read the article or anything. I don't know if they're doing a remake to the Lord of the Rings. Or they're actually building up more of the world of Lord of the Rings, like those like more storylines. I don't know. I said it back when we were talking about Rings of Power, which in my point of view does not count as canon. I don't mind doing
what Rings of Power.
I don't mind. Warner Brothers do like an MCU kind of style, like Phase 1, Phase 2, like about Tolkien's world, but include the original Lord of the Rings as, part of that canon, world. And, you can go through the ages from the time of the gods to age 3, the end of, then basically finish off with Lord of the Rings. And, keep as true and accurate to the Lord of the Rings. Anyways, yeah, let's go back to the Last of Us. So about season 2, like I said, they're going to cut it into multiple seasons. About game 2, they're going to cut game 2 into multiple seasons. I don't know if it's going to be 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, or 5 seasons, because again, between game 1 and game 2, there's a 5-year gap. I think what they're going to do is cut it into 2 seasons. So season 1 is going to be about the flashbacks. So anything between game 1 and game 2, and season 3 is going to be the actual game, 2028, going to be the entire main plot of game 2. Now, the people who have played the games, they did say they suspect they're going to be volume 3, and that could be a very good way to finish the storyline, because apparently the main storyline of the games are not closed. They're you could still do something, and if that is the case, that does give us more time to for season game 3 to then tell us another like season 4, and then basically close off everything. So we'll see. Another thing that they, HBO did say, like, okay, people did complain not enough cordyceps. Okay, so we will promote cordyceps in the seasons. So basically more high risk, which
Good.
Good. Finally, I want that.
About freaking time.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what else, because we did stray off from the subject for a little while. I think that's it for now. There are a few more things I want to mention, but I will mention them later on in the episode when it's relevant.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's finally actually jump into the episode.
Yeah. Woo.
So this episode is, except for one scene in the game,
brought to you by our sponsors, Gatorade, the only drink that can get you through a game.
I wish.
See, Gatorade sponsor us.
Yeah, I wish they do. Anyways, so except for one scene in the game, this episode is 100% accurate, just like the game.
No way.
Yeah. Anyways, I very much love the dynamic between Ellie and Joel in this game. Like we can see Ellie's completely out of it. She's not focusing. She's in her head. She's obviously went through something very serious, so it's traumatic for her. She's again 14. Well, by now she should be 15. Like, by now I believe she should be 15. So, she's 15 years old. Went through, rape. Well, she did not go through
almost
rape.
Attempted rape,
attempted murder, attempted, cannibalism, and she did murder someone. It's a lot for someone who is 15 years old, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. And you can see Joel is trying to help her, like he doesn't really know how, but he's trying. It's like, hey, help me with this, help me with that. So they just, he tries to talk with her and explain, like, everything is good. At some point, they get to a building, and on that building, they climb the ladder and they see a giraffe. And that's when, it's like, oh my God, a giraffe. And that scene with the giraffe, dude, what do you think? Is the giraffe a real giraffe or not a real giraffe? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? What the fuck just happened? One sec. So they, they're walking, and they obviously are getting close to the end of the line of their journey. And in the meantime, they get to this building because they need to find where they need to go. So they want to go into a building to get as high as possible and see and scout, basically.
I liked the quick moment in there where Joel gives Ellie a boost, and then she puts down a ladder. Felt very video game-esque.
Yeah, that was exactly like the video game as well. But yeah, she obviously drops the ladder because she sees a giraffe. And here is the question that I wanted to mention earlier, but I'll mention it now because it's relevant for now. is the giraffe real or not?
It felt like CGI. I mean, I was looking at it very carefully. However,
I would not ask.
uh,
I would not ask this question if this giraffe is CGI. This giraffe is absolutely real.
I was gonna say, well, here's the thing. I don't know what it is because I was gonna say, I was like, did they have the budget for that? It felt like when I was watching the scene, I was like, this feels like CGI, but their interactions with it felt very real. And I was like, if they could pull that off, it would look so much better, especially with the editor. But their interactions are like one point. I don't know what it was, but it felt like for me looking at it visually, there felt like there was CGI. Like I don't know, just the way some of its lines or whatever. But it's like I feel like this ought to be real. So it was
It was, yes. So it was a real giraffe from what I've read.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Now the giraffes in the background, I assume those are CGI. What's funny, I did see a picture on the internet where you see Ellie and Joel sitting on a mechanical horse. It's like, you don't have a budget for a horse, but you have a budget for a giraffe for like 2 seconds. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I look at Lord of the Rings. Some of their setups for filming horseback was to have like a mounted rig so that they could sit on it and it would rock. They'd have to rock back and forth or whatever as the vehicle is moving so that there's whatever. However, yeah, they just didn't. I didn't recall enough shots for that kind of shit to happen in this show. But regardless,
Yeah. I totally forgot. I know how I forgot about it. Well, because we were talking about God of War and all that. We forgot to start the beginning. The beginning of this episode actually starts with a flashback. Yeah.
go
Uh,
figure.
finally a flashback, but it's not a serious. It's not like entire episode flashback. It's a small flashback, but a very important flashback. Something that I don't know why I didn't even ask this on this podcast, also on the Hebrew podcast. How the fuck is Ellie immune? How?
Right. Oh, right. That whole thing.
Yeah,
Starring
that
Ashley Johnson, one of my favorite voice actors, who also was in the video game, but also is a star on Critical Role, one of my favorite D&D shows.
really, I didn't know she plays
Yeah.
D&D.
Yeah. Also, if you've seen the new Amazon animation Critical Role, Vox Machina, she's Pike Trickfoot, the character that she played in the game. So that's really cool to see that. But Ashley Johnson was a primary character in The Last of Us. Also, she was in a deleted scene in the Marvel in the Avengers. Yeah. And is accredited. Oh God, what is happening? Accredited actress for that scene. But regardless, yeah, she's acting in this as Ellie's mother, which was really interesting.
Yes, so she plays Ellie's mother, and you did say she is a very important role in The Last of Us, the video game. Who is she in the video game?
No, you tell me. I swear. You.
Oh, I know the answer, but let's see.
I think I know the answer. I think she plays Ellie.
She plays Ellie, yes.
Yeah, so it's the really fun, like, oh, what? She's Ellie, but she's his mother. Like, what? No.
I have to say, when I saw her, it's like, damn, she looks like Ellie, like like video game Ellie, and also like TV show Ellie. Like, I don't know, they did like like obviously they did perfect casting because she's video game Ellie, but no, yeah. So she's video game Ellie. Last episode we got video game Joel. A few episodes ago we got video game Tommy. So yeah, it's nice. So yeah. Sorry, I totally forgot to mention, the beginning of this episode, how it actually begins. So so let's jump to that and then come back to the giraffe scene.
Yeah.
So we actually start the episode with we see her name is Amy, Hannah. No,
I
Emma.
don't remember. Maybe.
Emma. I think it's Emma. Anna. 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 I have fucking fuck it. Let's go with Emma.
Mm-hmm. And
I think
here
it's
on out, it's Emma in quotations.
I think it's Annie though. Either way. So we start with her, running in the forest, and we also hear like clicks, and obviously someone is after her. So she runs, and then obviously we can see that she's pregnant. So we immediately Anna. That was
Yeah.
right. I'm also now searching it, but my phone is slow. Anyways, so we can see she's pregnant, so she's kind of, fucked. Pun intended.
She was fucked.
Actually, the pun was not intended.
Now it's intended.
Now it is. She gets out of the forest. She sees a little house. She goes over there. The house is locked, and she's like calling for someone. Like, it's me, it's me. So obviously, she knows this house. This is her base or whatever.
Mhm.
She gets into her room. She has a knife. She prepares to, defend herself. And then the cordyceps comes. I think it's a stalker because he runs. It could be a whatever. Anyways, obviously she kills the cordyceps, but we also see that the cordyceps was able to bit her thigh, and immediately this is where she cuts the umbilical cord so Ellie will not get infected. Now,
Apparently.
in that split second, she was able to get infected.
Yeah, I had like questions because she was bit on the leg, and the womb is in the abdomen, but then it's through the bloodstream, and then we know that the infection from the leg takes a long time to grab a hold, and we also know that the infection takes hold in the brain.
Yeah.
And if I know my female anatomy enough, and at least through the birthing process, like you first of all, you get your nutrients through the umbilical cord, which comes from the womb lining, which feeds off of the nutrients and chemicals provided by the mother via blood and I guess other chemicals, which is in that area. And so the real question is, how long would it take to spread and then split? And then she was literally birthed like 3 seconds after. So it was like, oh my, like I didn't feel like there would be enough time whatsoever.
Neither did I, but from my understanding, the reason Ellie is immune, or not the reason, well, sort of the reason, is basically her white blood cells don't see the cordyceps as a threat. And the cordyceps, her white blood cells are infected, or, what's the word? Evolved.
Oh, I totally forgot to say last episode. Right. Because here's the thing. She's infected. She's been infected the entire time. I thought from the last episode, episode 8, after she bit David, the preacher guy, that like he would turn.
Oh yeah.
I totally thought that was what was going to happen. Like he was going to be on top of her, and then all of a sudden he would start sprouting, and then he would realize it was because of her bite, because she spread the disease. Technically, that should have happened, I guess. Or
I also think it should have happened. Yes.
However, because they've been flexible with like, oh, you're a bit here, and now you're suddenly this, like so. So it's like okay, like so continue. Yeah, sorry. I realize I'm just connecting that in for all our listeners from the last episode. That was my original thought that I said at the beginning that, oh, I'll say that later. But now you heard it an episode later.
Yes. So no, okay. So like I said, from my understanding, her white blood cells don't see the cordyceps as a threat, and the cordyceps doesn't see the white blood cells as a threat because her white blood cells did evolve. just
Hmm.
like the cordyceps evolved as well. And because of that, that's why the cordyceps in her body does not evolve in her body. It's just like, oh, you are already a cordyceps. Your entire body is a cordyceps. That's how I see it. Therefore, I don't need to evolve more than this. Now, obviously, she's not a cordyceps, but when I saw she was, bit and then she gave birth to Ellie, my thought process like, okay, obviously she's gonna breastfeed her, so that's how she got immune.
But she didn't.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, yeah, 3 seconds is not enough time. I can understand, like, do you know how much blood goes through your body in 1 second? It's like, so yes, I can understand, like, okay, so 3 seconds, let's say your heart pumped 10 times within those 3 seconds. Let's say, I'm just throwing out a number. So
Yep.
yeah, you could say, blood did throw throughout the mother's body.
But
But
we know that the cordyceps attack the brain and then spread out. Like, so here's the thing: it's like, does it take a full cycle through the body and then to the brain? Like, is it like as a full cycle till it gets to the brain? Like, we don't know.
now, not only that, once it gets to the womb, it needs to filter out. That takes a lot more time. It is a known fact. A pregnant woman who drinks while, obviously pregnant, the baby will also kind of get drunk in the womb, but it will take several hours. Now
I don't know about this. It takes 45 seconds for blood to circulate from the heart all around the body and back to the heart again.
There, so they fucked up. Anyways,
I'm just saying, there's that information for you.
yeah. Anyways,
But then, let alone then cycle into the baby's separate system, right?
exactly.
Despite, and an umbilical cord. So
Let's not go with science here, because we simple folks over here. We don't know shit.
We simple folk.
So that's basically how Ellie got immune. I'm surprised that it didn't happen more often. Like in the 20 years. Like, this is now happening in the year 2008.
Right.
Everything, all of this, what started at 2003. So this is now 2008. Anyways, we then see several hours later, we see her friend, I forget her name, which, by the way, she is also video game herself. Her friend, I don't remember her name.
Okay.
So she looks exactly like the video game, same character. The reason is because that is the exact same person.
You don't fucking say.
For a change, you have a character playing themselves from the game, so that's funny. Anyways, she comes. You see Ellie in a green jacket, which we do see Ellie later on as a teenager wearing that green jacket. And, her mother, Anna, gives her the knife, says, "Here, protect my child." Then she asks her to, to kill her, and she says no, but then obviously she does later. We don't find out in this episode or at all, but apparently Anna was a nurse. And
okay.
Yeah. And she also had theories of how to stop the cordyceps or how to deal with all of this. Anyways, her friend says she will do whatever she can to protect Ellie. She promises, all will be good. And she kept her promise until the end.
Until the end. Well,
yeah. And she kills Anna. And that's basically how the episode begins. So yeah, now back to the giraffes.
And we're back to the giraffes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't they look lovely?
Moo. If you think about it, a giraffe is just a cow with a very long neck. It has spots. Anyways, so yeah, so after the giraffes, they walk on and they see where they need to go. And over here, Joel's like, we don't have to do this. We can stop. We can always go back to Tommy's and all will be good. Like, no one is forcing you to do this. Like, we can stop. And she said, like, no, we won't half-ass anything. We will do it till the very end. After that, we'll do whatever we want. We'll go wherever you want, and all will be good. And that, that's that. So he says, what? Fine, no problem. They continue on walking, and then Joel, again, like, he knows something is wrong with Ellie, and he tries to help her. And he tells her, what was it, now or later? I think it was now, when he
What
tells
does he
her
tell her specifically?
about his daughter. Or no, that was later, when they were hiking. Yeah, that was later.
Yeah.
So
That's what they're...
I'll revise you this later. Anyway, so he tells Ellie, you know what? I'm in the mood for horrible puns. They go on horrible puns.
.com.
.com. Some of them were funny. And this is what they're captured. They captured them by surprise. The Fireflies.
Yeah, throw a...
Well,
they threw a flashbang, but it was not your average flashbang. It was a flashbang smoke grenade.
Yeah.
I was confused.
I don't know. But yeah, then they...
Just so you know, ladies and gentlemen, a flashbang in the middle of the day is next to none, just very loud and not effective. And the dispersion of smoke usually isn't that... Well, if it's sprayed out, but I mean, they just ate it. I don't know. It wasn't what you'd normally, just saying.
Yeah. Anyways, so they then, they take Joel and Ellie, and Joel wakes up in the hospital on a hospital bed, and we see Anna's friend, the woman who was there when Ellie was born. And Joel wants to see Ellie, and over here it's like, no, she's being prepared for surgery. And over here it's like, fuck. Now I got spoilers. I knew what's going to happen. I knew from this moment on everything that's going to happen, because again, the game came out in 2013, so 10 years ago. So I knew what's going to happen, and I was like, fuck. But still, oh my fucking god.
That was dope.
The intensity. Now, I watch the episode on my phone. Yes, a small screen, but I use the headphones I'm using right now. So, and I put it full volume, the bass, like, oh my god, yes. It's like I was like hooked. I couldn't let go. Like, if the building was on fire, like I can't. I had, like, oh my god, intense. This entire scene. Anyways, so yeah, Joel obviously wants to see Ellie. He doesn't want her to do the surgery. And they say, like, she's the only cure. There's no one like her. There's no one else. I'm the only one who really understands. I was there when she was born. And, we really think, we can make a cure over here, thanks to her. And go back to how civilization, back to how everything was. And Joel realizes the only way to do that is via the brain, to get to the brain, which means open her skull and cut up her brain, or take out her brain, basically killing Ellie.
Basically kill her. Yeah. Scoop it out.
That's what needs to be done. And it's like, it kills him. It kills him. Like, I did not come all this way. Like, if she was still cargo to him, maybe he would still do it. But she's no longer cargo.
Yeah.
She, like,
at this point is like, nope.
No, but by this point, she's family. She is family. When he told her, like, when she asked, "Oh, I'm not family," like, no, you're just cargo. That's it. That's what you are to me. But now she's family. So it's like, oh fuck, no. And then
it was that subtle realization of what is going on was like, ooh. Cue the doom music.
Yes. Oh my god. So this is basically where he goes on his rampage. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did. The music. Okay, well, we know this. The music of The Last of Us is the exact same music from the game itself. Also, the music.
I was wondering about that. I was like, this music is a very particular choice.
Yeah. Also, the music when we go with the giraffe, exact same music. Everything they did the exact same. But no, the music when he goes on a complete rampage in the game, you don't have that. But over here, because it's not a game, so you can't pause like, okay, let me stop for a sec, hide, let me get gear and all that. No, everything just goes on. So you hear the music and it's the opening theme song, but it's also with the violin and the orchestra, and it's like
Full everything.
full everything. But what was amazing about it, they slowed the music down even more. It is a slow song, but they slowed it down even more. It's like, holy shit, the intensity that it added. Oh my god. And you see just Joel doesn't give a fuck. We've heard how Joel is ruthless. He's crazy. And he knows he talked about it with Tommy. He killed people. There were other ways they could have survived, but he went with that. He doesn't regret it. And even Tommy said, like, I don't judge you. Yes, there were other ways, but I don't judge you. You're still my brother, and I love you no matter what. But here, for the very first time, we see
the monster comes out.
the monster that was built inside Joel this entire time. And
That was epic.
holy fucking shit. Oh my god.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
Yes. Yes, 100%. Like,
I did feel that they've been holding back a little bit, but it was nice to finally see it come out, and it met the intensity of what we've been told Joel is. So it's nice to see that, and we caught a taste of it even in episode 8, which was really good. But now to see it like full flags unfurled, it was like, yeah, here we go.
This is what I appreciate, like what they did. We've been hearing how insane he is, but we haven't really seen it. We've seen glimpses, but not really. But then, last episode we saw, like, how he kills a person. Like, I believe him. It's like, oh my god.
Yep.
It's like we saw like a small glimpse of the real monster, but we really saw it. So I was very happy that we saw it and they kept it to the end. And also with Ellie, last episode, Ellie went on when she killed the person. That was like insane. This entire show, she did not kill one person. Compared to the game, she kills a lot of people. So it's like, I'm not getting the Ellie from the show, from the game. The Ellie from the game, she does kill people. Over here, she didn't kill anyone. So like, is she really capable of killing anyone? And then when she killed, like, oh my god, yes, the intensity, same thing. I felt it. So I understand what they did and why they made those changes, and I appreciate those changes. I love those changes. Did an absolute amazing job. Anyways, so Joel goes on this complete rampage, kills everyone, one shot, one kill. He does with everyone. He's done with this gun, takes another gun. Done with this gun, takes a pistol. He finally gets to the doctor. And exactly like the game, the doctor says, like, I won't let you take her. And Joel kills her. Kills the doctor.
Yeah.
And here's another cameo. Not that we would know. So,
okay.
Because she's wearing a mask. So in the room, there's Ellie on the table, 2 nurses, and the doctor. Joel kills the doctor. We are left with 2 nurses that Joel doesn't kill. In the second game, we have a new evil character, so to say. That evil character is called Abby. She is fucking jacked. She is huge. I've seen videos. She's insanely huge.
Right.
The voice actor for Abby is one of the nurses.
No way.
Yeah. and they also credited her. So yeah. Anyways, and here's another spoiler for the second game. I don't know if you know this, but I've done a little research. The second game is going to be mainly a revenge kind of plot. Other than the flashbacks, you have the previous time, current time, what happens, which is going to be mainly flashbacks. Not flashback, is going to be mainly a revenge. Why revenge? Because Abby wants revenge for the person who killed her father. Who killed her father? Joel killed her father.
I wonder who that could be. There you go.
When did Joel kill her father? Well, Joel just killed the doctor, which is Abby's father.
There you go. Done and done.
So yeah, the killing of this doctor is a build-up to the second game. So just letting you guys know. Anyways, yeah, Joel takes Ellie, and obviously they walk away. This is where I also have a little frustration. In the game, you still have people running after him, trying to kill him. It's like, yes, that rampage was absolutely amazing, like 100%. But I feel like there was not enough people. I feel that, there were supposed to be more people for him to kill, even after he takes Ellie. And that didn't happen. But, even with that, amazing. Wow. He goes into the elevator. He goes to, the parking lot of the hospital. And that's where he finds, I forget her name, but
Miri? No.
I don't remember, but he finds
she's really not important.
Like, yes,
important, but not.
important, but not important. Yeah. Anyways, so that's where he sees Marlene. That's her name.
Marlene, same thing. All right.
And she's like, you can't run away forever. At the end, you will die, then she will live alone. Like, she is the cure for humanity. There's nothing you can do. She will find out. And he shoots her. She's now like dying. He puts Ellie in the car. They drive. And then we see Joel in the car. And Ellie wakes up and she asks him, like, what happened? And he says, like, oh, yeah.
Whatever. Raiders came. I had to get you out.
He lies to her, like, Raiders came, had to get you out. People died. Marlene, I'm sorry. Like, and Ellie asked, like, was it? No, this he asked later. But then we go back again to see what happened in the parking lot. And Marlene says, like, no, please let me go. And he says, like, you will just come back for Ellie. Her. And then boom, shoots her in the head. Like, fuck. He's like, he could have let her go. He could, like, damn, like, she wouldn't have. He killed the doctor, so the chances of her surviving is still small. But he just, damn. Yeah.
Yep.
But then the car dies, and then they decide to go on hike to get to Tommy, to that city where Tommy is. And over here, you once again get a little heart-to-heart, Joel and Ellie. He tells her, like, oh yeah, my daughter would have loved you, not loved like love, but she would have liked you. You would have made her laugh. And he explains a bit more about his past. He has a scar on his face. And she asked, like, how did that happen? And he said, like, oh, by the second day.
That was a little earlier. It was before they got captured by the Fireflies.
But yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the scene as they're walking before the grenade is thrown at them. He's talking about that.
Okay. So so I was right the first time. This is what I wanted to mention. So yeah, he mentions how he almost killed himself by the second day, and the only reason he didn't is because he flinched, and he doesn't know why. Till this day, he has no idea why. And he says, like, yeah, a lot of people say time, will heal, all wounds, and he says time did not heal my wound. And they look at each other. They don't say it, but he's basically saying, you healed my wound. I lost a daughter, and you kind of became a daughter figure for me. So
Yep.
you essentially healed that hole, that gap I had. So what is so important about that, like, even though he knows she is the cure, he doesn't want to get rid of his daughter. Yes, she's not his daughter, but she filled that hole. So like, what do I have to go through that again? Lose a daughter again? I finally accepted you as a family, as my daughter, and then the exact same day you die. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen. So it's very, very heartwarming. And I was like, it was nice to see. It was really nice. But then
Mm.
later on, Ellie comes and confess like I wasn't alone, and this is something I wanted to see in episode 7. Like I wanted to see Ellie kill Riley, but we don't see that. But she tells us, that she eventually killed Riley, and had nothing to do. And then she asked, Joel, swear to me that everything you told me that happened in the hospital with the Fireflies is true. He told her, Raiders, they kill, and there's a bunch of other people with a cure like you, and there's no cure. They tried many times and they failed. So there's no cure. And he promises that everything he says is true, but she knows he's lying. She can feel like he's lying.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
it's like she's gonna choose to believe him unless um evidence to the contrary comes up.
yeah, but she's like, I'm gonna believe you, but deep inside, I know you're lying. She's like trying to make herself believe this lie. And then she basically says, okay. And that's when the season ends. And it's like, what? That's it? No. And the game ends the exact same way. So we
Yep.
have that.
Beat for beat.
Yeah, exactly. Beat for beat. A little spoiler for season 2. If they are going to do a season flashbacks, and then season 3 is going to be the main, not previously, but during, you have past, present, and future. I don't know, whatever. You have the flashback episode seasons. I think season 2 is going to be flashbacks, and season 3 is going to be like the future, 2028. Anyways, like I said, between now and season the second game, there's 5 years. So in season 2, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to get flashbacks, and a year after this, basically 2024, Ellie goes back to the hospital and she finds out the truth. So then comes the whole like she doesn't trust Joel and blah blah blah. Again, I don't know much. These are, spoilers that I've got. Yeah, so that's I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. I got nothing.
You got nothing? Okay.
I got nothing.
What would you rate this show? This entire show?
Oh yeah. I'd have to say it's a solid 9.
Yes.
There was enough for it to be really good, to be hyped about, and to be like, okay, all right, I feel you. Pardon me. But on the other hand, there is enough for me to be like, they're like some of from tropiness from all sides to like certain levels of writing and to whatever to be like, but for what it was, like it was a really enjoyable show. It was remarkable compared like 1-to-1 with the source material, the honor that was bestowed upon it, and was really dope. And I was very happy to have partaken in watching this. So yeah, solid 9 on my radar.
I totally agree with you. This these 9 weeks have felt, in one hand, a long time, and at the other, it's like not enough. But yeah, every episode was a great episode. Like I think there's not one episode that is like below 8. All of them, in
Mm.
like my point of view, 8 and above. So it's great, and a lot of them, like some of them, also are 9, 10. So they did a great job. They kept true to the material. Yes, they made a few changes here and there, but changes that were necessary. Um, Again, this is how you portray a video game. If you're gonna do it right, and this is how you do it. Amazon, if you do have the rights for God of War, don't fuck up. Oh, even though you will. So here are other rumors. I have heard that there is a possibility to get episode 10 for this season. I don't know if it's true, like a little like here's another sneak peek episode. I've heard it. I don't know if it's true. Right now it's a rumor. If it is true, so we will see it next week. So yeah, it'd be interesting. What will it be if it is true? Anyways, here's my big question.
Mm.
Joel decided to save Ellie rather than
Yeah.
let her die and make a cure for everyone, for the planet.
I mean, it kind of fell unbeknownst to him. I wonder what Ellie, the real moral choice would have been had they told Ellie the circumstances and what she wanted to do.
Yeah, that I also thought they're gonna do that route, but at the same time, it fits Joel to try to protect her. But here's my question: what Joel did, was it the right thing, or was it the right thing to do?
Well,
To
that's
save
what makes this controversial / like super cool. Like that's what we get to talk about. That's what this
podcast is about. Yeah.
the podcast, but also the show / the source material. Like that's what they were doing. Like that's what makes this a great video game, is because of this defining moment. It's like, was this the moral thing? I think it wasn't the moral choice because it wasn't to whom it may concerns, but it's like also the power of like let's say a loved one is on life support. Like, at what point do you have the right to infringe upon their well-being? Question mark. So why don't you give some of your thoughts, and I give some of my further thoughts.
Okay, so this is my thought. If Joel did the right thing by letting Ellie survive and basically saying "fuck you" to the cure, I honestly think it doesn't matter, because if you look at the big picture, it's been 20 years since all of this happened.
Yeah.
Now let's do a little comparison from this show to the MCU. The MCU, just 5 years, gone by with the blip, the snap, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of see how it affected the world. Some people say, Thanos was right, some of them not. In Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I don't know if you've seen the movie, most likely you haven't, but in the very beginning, we hear there are a lot of people who are homeless. To buy a house, you need to be rich. It's very impossible to buy a house or even rent. And why is that? Because people lost their houses during those 5 years. So if 5 years can do such a big effect on you, on people's lives, what is 20 years? That is 4 times than, the MCU. So in my point of view, let's say Joel did, say, fine, you can kill Ellie and make a cure. Great. let's not forget there's no more planes, there's no more boats. So you only are saving what? The North and South of America. That's it. If you can actually
that
travel
you
that,
can reach.
if
Yeah.
you, yeah, exactly. We saw how difficult was it to travel from Boston to Texas to to wherever they are, to Wyoming. That alone was very difficult. So who are you really saving here? Barely the US. So
And you can still get ripped apart.
exactly. So you know what? Let's say fine. So now people won't get infected, but they can still fucking eat you alive and rip you apart. So how important is a cure nowadays?
Mm,
How
that's
effective?
fair enough.
How can it really help?
Yeah,
So
that's
in
difficult.
it is difficult. So in my point of view, it doesn't matter if you let her live or die.
Mm,
Because he honestly, he won't be saving the human race. What happens? You know what? They make the vaccine. They have a way to give it to the entire world. Oh shit, cordyceps happened, and now we lost it.
hmm
So now we don't have anyone who has this ability, and great, we are fucked again.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it would definitely help on to some extent of people getting like immunized to the whole thing, but then it's again the unification of humanity and cultures and people to rise above the given circumstance. And it's possible that, yeah, it's so late in the game that it's basically irrelevant. I like the practicality of what you're looking at. Uh, and I would agree. I think it's basically useless. I think the thematically though, it's the choice of like it becomes difficult because then it's the in some essence, Ellie and Joel have become family, and he is assuming this final responsibility of like, okay, I'm Ellie's caregiver, I'm her parent now. Like I've accepted that, she's my daughter, I'm her father, and I'm gonna protect her. I'm gonna, you know, maybe some of that is for selfish cause, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things also, but it's more of a personal thing. It's like it's the final realization. It's why he saves her. And it's like, wow. Um, I think on a moral level, it's like again, I think Ellie had to be fully disclosed and it was for her to make a choice. And then whether Joel went against that or not would give it more like, oh, that's, wrong or whatever implications because he went against her will, or he, accepted it. Um, so I think it's a little more. I think depending on what filter you're giving it, certain things become a little more defined. Uh, Depending on what lens you're looking through, and so when you have those filters in place, you could determine an answer. I think for what the story is, and for the personal narrative and and compared against the greater like what's going on in the world, I think he made the right choice. I think he should have been honest about it with Ellie and have her come to a decision because at that point it was like she wasn't in a place to consent, which was unfortunate. But then she would need the, let's see, transparency um uh, to comprehend all the choices made and whether that was, whether she would be okay with that or not. So on one hand, he did good, but on the other hand, because he lied to her, it was the wrong thing. Not that him saving her life was the wrong thing. Um, but yeah, it's just in the overall, I think when you compare all these factors together, um, that that would be the case. At least that's where I think it is. So I think it was the right call more or less on the narrative level.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I understand what, like, yes, I do agree he did the right thing, because at the end of the day, if the vaccine is useless, so just stay alive. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a civilization over here. We can survive this, even though a lot of people lose hope. Like, why survive an apocalypse? Better off just be dead.
Yep.
So, but she's alive, so try to be alive. So yeah,
Just try.
I agree with the decision he made. I do agree with you that the fact that he lied to her was the wrong thing, but that is one of the motives for the second game.
Yeah.
The fact that he lies to her and she finds out that he lied to her. But yeah, I think that's the end. That's the end.
That's it. That's The Last of Us. That's the
That's
last of it.
That's the last of Us. Well, not the last of Us, but the
So we
last of Us for season 1.
Yep.
Yes. Great show. This is one of those shows I will most definitely watch again before season 2 comes out. To just, refresh my memory. Obviously, we are going to talk about season 2 whenever season 2 comes out. Don't know when that would be. Hopefully, it's going to be next year, 2024, and not 2025. Because if it is 2024, so we have what? HBO, Rings of Power. No, not Rings. We have Rings of Power for Amazon and HBO House of the Dragon for 2024. Oh. I really hope they won't do like you. 1 year, each show you get one good show. It's like, no, give me multiple good shows at the same time. I don't want 1 year this, 1 year that. So yeah. But I believe that's the end for the episode for today. I'm your host, Joel, and with us, Moses Moon.
That's me, everyone.
We talked about The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 9. And I'll give us 5 stars on Spotify and everywhere else. I'll put the podcast for the Hebrew podcast link in the bio. Also for Moses' Instagram radio show, Reforge Radio. And we are spoilers, obviously, and we'll catch you up on the next episode with new content like The Mandalorian and extra more stuff. And until then, bye.
Bye-bye.